Hello to you. I do hope you're well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've just got home for the Christmas holidays, so I thought I would sit down and film a quick teaching update video on my first term as a head of year, because it has been genuinely the best couple of months getting into this new role, getting to know my students, and hopefully laying the foundations for my students achieving really great things in the years ahead. And I have to tell you, it really has been a dream role, and I think that's because it is such a pleasure and a privilege to be doing this job and to see the impact and the difference that you can actually make. So what I thought I would do in this video is just talk about the priorities I've had over the past couple of months and the things that I'm looking forward to doing, not only in the months ahead, but in the years ahead as well, because I've been assigned to this year group, not only for this year whilst they're in year 8, but also for the rest of their time at the school. So I'm really looking forward to journeying with them through the rest of Key Stage 3, but also then into Key Stage 4. And I'm actually really confident that they are going to achieve exceptional things at the end of year 11 when they do sit their GCSE exams. You know, my 191 students are excellent in terms of their work ethic, in terms of their politeness, their respect, and also in terms of what they are capable of. And, you know, as I say to them, you are all capable of greatness. The mantra I've been using since the very start of September is that we are a year group who are going to choose greatness. We are going to achieve extraordinary things. And as I've said to them, there are 800,000 students in their year group across the country. We are going to be the best. I want them to become the very best versions of themselves. I want them to make the maximum progress possible during their time in education, and I want them to fulfill their full potential. And I am absolutely determined to make sure that that happens. So there are two things really that I think have been a focus in my first couple of months in the role. And the first one has been setting the standard and making it clear to my students that I have very high expectations of them because I have high aspirations for them. So that has been the number one focus. And then the second very important focus has been about building positive relationships. And I see this very much as about laying the foundations for the years ahead, you know, really getting to know my students, building those positive relationships with them and of course with their families, so that in the years ahead we can work together so that they can overcome any obstacles that they face and they can then fulfill their full potential. And I really do believe it is essential that every single student feels seen, they feel supported, that they feel championed, and that they are also challenged. You know, I see it as my job to hold them to account for being their best, and it is absolutely my mission that every single student will become the very best that they possibly can be, and that they will fulfill their full potential, so that when they do leave the school, they will go out into the world and live their best lives and also make a really positive contribution to the common good of society. So if I think about what has defined the past few months, I would say it's absolutely been one word, and that word is greatness, because I've been introducing my students to my mantra and my firmly held belief that greatness is a choice. So every single student in my year group knows that I want them to choose greatness in everything that they do. Now, I'm really passionate about making the implicit explicit in education. You know, we shouldn't just tell students what we want them to do, but we need to explicitly teach them how to do that. And so with my greatness mantra, I have been introducing students to a little acronym that I devised, which is all about exactly what greatness is. So it's about breaking down the key components, if you like, of achieving greatness. So G stands for give it 100%. I expect my students to give it 100% in everything that they do. You know, I want them to put in maximum effort, and that's based on Dr. Carol Dweck and growth mindset and that key idea that effort is the key to mastery. I expect them to respect everybody. You know, I believe there are zero excuses for disrespect, and I have a zero tolerance for disrespect. You know, I really insist on my students being polite and being kind, and as I say, treating every single person they encounter, whether that is a member of the public, whether that is a teacher, whether that is a member of support staff, with respect. You know, we should always be treating others as we would like to be treated. E is to engage positively, and this is all about students being optimistic about their abilities and being enthusiastic, you know, in terms of what they're doing. So I want them to be really positive in their participation, to have that optimistic attitude, to have that can-do attitude, and again, linking in with growth mindset, it is that key belief that if I work hard, I will achieve great things. So I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to, you know, contribute in the best way that I can. A then is arrive on time, and of course, you know, punctuality and attendance is so important, not only in school, but also in the wider world as well, isn't it? So it is essential that students are getting into the good habit of good punctuality and attendance. And, you know, one little anecdote I like to remind my students is that if you turn up at the airport late, that plane is not going to wait for you. So make sure you're there on time so you don't miss out on opportunities, whether that is to go on holiday or whether that is to be learning in the classroom. And so, you know, I really do insist that my students arrive punctually, and of course that they are arriving every day. You know, as we emerge from the COVID pandemic, I think schools nationwide are struggling with attendance actually, and it is, you know, a really important priority for me that students are in school consistently. Now, of course, you know, we're going to have a couple of days off, aren't we, during our time in education because we are ill, we are unwell, but it is important that we're really, you know, encouraging our students to strive to be in the classroom so that they can be making progress and therefore, you know, fulfilling their full academic potential. And then T, the final of the 5, is to take responsibility. And this is probably for me the most important one actually. You know, it's all about instilling students with a sense of personal autonomy and a sense of personal responsibility. You know, I expect them to take responsibility for their own success. So, you know, that's about being organised and making sure you've got your equipment, but that is also about holding your hands up when you have made a mistake, and of course we all do that, and, you know, making an effort to apologise if someone has been hurt and then learn from it so that you don't then make that same mistake again. And, you know, I am actually really proud of my students. I have what I call accountability conversations when, you know, a behaviour point has been issued, and for me it is about ensuring my students know what mistake was made and how they can learn from it so that we can make amends, we can reflect on what's happened, and then we can move forwards with a really great lesson learned. And of course nobody is perfect. As I say, we do all make mistakes, and what matters to me is that my students are being honest, they are taking responsibility, and they're taking that opportunity to learn from whatever has happened. So they are the 5 steps to greatness, if you like. And what I really love is that if you go into any of the Year 8 lessons, you know, wherever they are in the school, and you ask those students what is greatness, they will be able to tell you those 5 things. And I absolutely love doing that and making sure that students know what greatness is, in terms of knowing that it's give it 100%, respect everybody, engage positively, arrive on time, and take responsibility. So I absolutely love that. But I most of all love to see them demonstrating that. You know, I have felt so proud over the past few weeks and indeed months seeing my students choosing greatness. You know, we had a brilliant celebration assembly on the last week of term, and there have been 40,000 achievement points awarded for students in my year group. You know, 1 in 3 of them still have 0 behaviour points for absolutely any reason. So, you know, it is really excellent to see them being so excellent and achieving such great things, you know, whether that is holding a door open on the corridor, whether that is helping somebody else with whatever they're struggling with in a lesson. You know, it's great to see them being the best that they possibly can be. And, you know, I do insist that they hold themselves accountable for their actions and that they strive to meet my high expectations. And a big thing for me this term has been explicitly teaching those expectations and using the framework of greatness to do that. and being really clear with students that we have those high expectations of them because we have high aspirations for them. I want them to be the best that they possibly can be, and I want them to be the best in the country. And I'm absolutely determined that they will make the maximum progress possible during their time in education, and, you know, that they will then fulfill their full potentials. And I see so much talent and so much ability in my year group, the future doctors, lawyers, teachers, leaders. And I just cannot wait to see them continue achieving really great things in the years ahead. And so that leads me really to the second focus of the first term for me, which has been building positive relationships. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, this has been about laying the foundations for the years ahead, because of course, you know, it's been so important to set those high expectations and to explicitly teach students those good habits for greatness. But just as important has been building those positive relationships so that I and the brilliant team I have working with me can support students in meeting those high expectations and therefore fulfilling their full potential. So I've spent hours just speaking and having really great conversations with my students, you know, my tutor team, and of course many of their parents and carers as well. Because for me, a priority has been getting to know my year group in the same way that they've been getting to know my expectations of them and, you know, what I want them to be doing and how I want them to be conducting themselves. I've then made a real effort to get to know my students, so to start to understand them as human beings, because of course I could sit here and tell you that 86% of my students are EAL, 25% of them are on free school meals, 10% are SEN, 8% are more able, and they are the facts of my year group. But actually, just as important as knowing your statistics is knowing your students. So it has been, you know, my number one priority to be having conversations with my students and really getting to know them, to work out what are their aspirations, what are their ambitions, what is it that they want to achieve, and also what is it that they struggle with, because I really want to be in a position where I can, you know, be an expert on each of my students, so that, you know, if there are difficulties in the months and years ahead, which of course there will be, that is to be expected, I am in a position to really help them, support them and guide them, and crucially I'm in a position to work with their parents and carers as well for the common good of the child. So I have really enjoyed actually getting to know my students, and I really am, as I say, excited now for the future, because I have seen how excellent they are, how kind, considerate, polite, ambitious they are. And so it is now my mission to make sure that they are fully supported, that they are championed, and of course that they are challenged. You know, I say to my students all the time, you know, I am holding you to high standards because I have those high aspirations for you. And so I want you to be your best, and I will not apologise for holding you to account and sanctioning, for example, when you're not being your best, because I believe in you and I want the very best for you, not just during your time in education, but then also in your future. And I always speak to students about my own experience at school and the fact that I am where I am today because of the amazing support from the amazing teachers that I had. And so it's my way of paying it forwards. I have seen firsthand the brilliant positive impact that outstanding and inspiring teachers can have. And so I endeavour to work hard and follow in their footsteps to pay it forwards for my students. And as I say to my students, I want you to aspire to inspire. You know, I want you to aspire to inspire younger students. I want you to be role models. I want you to be leaders. I want you to be at the forefront, and I want you to be setting the example. And so it is great to be building these relationships, to be identifying the future leaders in my year group, you know, when I really do think the vast majority of them are going to be exemplary role models and excellent leaders in the school in the years to come. And so I finished this term, and I finished this video really, really, really fulfilled and really, really excited about the future, because I feel I have got the best year group in the school, but also in the country. I really, really believe that. Within my year group, we have just got brilliant personalities. We've got brilliant young people with genuinely brilliant potential, and it is my mission to unlock that and to ensure that they make the maximum progress they possibly can during their time in education, and I will be making sure that any barriers to their success are removed, and that their aspirations, are raised, because I want them, and I am determined that they will, to achieve the very best they possibly can. And such a lovely thing, actually, which is a nice tradition at our school at the end of the term, is the students write little thank you cards. And honestly, this makes my day. I think that these cards are just the best thing to ever receive. It's something money can't buy. And it's been so nice to be reading through these cards that students have written, and to see that actually they do feel, supported. They do feel championed, and of course that they do feel challenged. As I read through their messages, what they're saying: thank you for being such a great and hard-working teacher and head of year, etc. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being so understanding. Reading these comments reminds me of why I do work as hard as I do, because let's not kid ourselves, this is a difficult, demanding role to be in, and I certainly, as you can see, need to catch up on a lot of sleep over the holidays, but I genuinely would not change it for the world, because as I say, it is such a pleasure, and such a privilege to see my students already achieving great things, and to be in a position where I think, do you know what, I can help them on their journey. I can support them on their way to fulfilling their full potential and achieving great things in their lives. So it has been a brilliant couple of months, and I am now really excited, not only for the months ahead, but also for the years ahead. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting or insightful, or you might be thinking, how on earth has he just rambled on for the past 16 minutes like that? But yes, that is my little teaching update. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to wish you a very happy Christmas and New Year, whatever you're doing and wherever you are. Please do believe in yourself, be kind to yourself, and I really do wish you the very best for the year ahead. Thank you for joining me, and have a good day. Bye bye.